There were no Rabbit highlights. It was all Bulldog highlights. Had an almost faultless performance, and you got to remember that we missed a couple of tries as well. Metcalf kicks it from near on halfway, and the Warriors celebrate.
Yeah.
It was a very good win for them, sitting in fourth place. The Warriors must be over the moon. You just don't know what's going to happen with the Broncos at the moment. 6 from 6, top of the table, unbeaten. I shouldn't be nervous about playing the Broncos. They've been up and down like a yo-yo all season.
DSPN, the Devlin Sports Podcast Network.
It's Big League Tuesday, and we get him on every Tuesday. He's got to be the happiest Doggies fan this side of the Tasman. 6-0, mate. We watched that game together down in Twizel on the weekend. A mighty performance. And let's start there before we even get into the Warriors, because you shut them out. You got 2 of your big boys back. You're at the top of the table. You even got a little margin, a little bit of a buffer for the next one, whoever that might be, because you don't care because you're number one.
32-0 against the Rabbits. I watched the highlights again over the weekend after Friday night. Well, why wouldn't I?
Why wouldn't you?
And it was the strangest highlights package because there were no Rabbit highlights. It was all Bulldog highlights. We all had an almost faultless performance, and you got to remember that we missed a couple of tries as well. We blew a couple of tries as well, which we probably should have scored. Maybe should have been up over 40 points. It's just a great place to be. Untouchable at the moment. Feeling very good about it. But some more interesting results from over the weekend, which just goes to show what we've already discussed, is that by the end of this competition, the fight for final spots is going to be real. Teams are beating each other in a way this year we haven't seen in the last few years. And I suppose one example of that might have been the other night, the Dolphins 42 over the Melbourne Storm 22. The Storm got pants, they came back and pantsed, and then they got flogged the next week. And then the Panthers even came back with a 40-12 win over the Roosters. I don't know if you saw any of that, but they looked like they were back, the Panthers.
Well, I watched the Eels beat the Tigers last night, and I was saying to Kempy, they looked like a team that actually wanted to win. They didn't like a team that had just won one game. Of course, you're in that danger zone now, though, where you haven't been beaten, so it's just a matter of when, isn't it? You can't go through the whole season winning every single game. That's ridiculous. I don't think any team's ever done that, so don't even start.
I mean, the expectation is there's going to be a loss somewhere in the future, and as we look ahead to this weekend, well, maybe it's this weekend. You just don't know what's going to happen with the Broncos at the moment. Look, as it currently sits, 6 from 6, top of the table, unbeaten, looking fantastic. I shouldn't be nervous about playing the Broncos. They've been up and down like a yo-yo all season. So, I mean, to me, in the past, if I'd have been looking at Penrith, 6 from 6 playing the Broncos with their record this season, I'd be saying we win this for sure.
Sure.
But there's always that little bit of doubt creeps in.
Well, that's only because you've had 20 years of shite, mate. I mean, since 2004?
It's hard.
I mean, last year you made the finals. You had that great season, but it'd been so long you'd forgotten. And then the scandals that I mean, at the moment it's fashionable to be a Bulldogs fan. I can't even say it without spitting it out.
Well, hang on. Let's have a talk about the crowd there on Friday night.
63,000.
63 and a bit thousand
Crazy,
people,
mate.
The biggest ever round robin game there'd been, and they reckon that was 80% Bulldogs fans.
I could see.
I mean, that's just that's a commentators
Where have they
having
all
a bit
been
of a look at the
hiding
crowd.
over the last few years?
Well, we've been hiding in shame out at Belmore. We haven't wanted to show our faces for the last 15 years. But, of course, everyone wants to now. I'm sure we've sold a few jerseys to a few Johnny-come-latelys. But we don't mind that.
Mate, plenty of room.
We can get 45,000 people to a club game on a Friday night. I tell you what, we have to win. You know what I'm saying? The support from Sydney at large is now all behind the Bulldogs, I reckon.
That's crazy, isn't it? I mean, this is a
We're the hope. We're the hope.
You are the hope? No, I just think that what it is for the rest of us is we're sitting there, as long as it's not called Penrith, as long as it's not called Melbourne at this stage of the season.
Yeah,
it's not about winning the first 6 games, it's whether you win the last 6 games, including the grand final, mate. That's what counts.
Well, that is what will count, Martin. That is what I'm hoping to be counting on. But played 6, 14 points, Broncos next, Storm there, 4 wins, and the Raiders on 5 wins. Oh, look at the top four. The Warriors are there.
How about that?
Oh, what a great win for them over the weekend.
Totally.
A 2-point victory. It could have gone either way. In fact, we thought they were losing the game. You picked a penalty to Brisbane, which they'd kick to break the 18-point deadlock. And actually, as it turns out, it was the Warriors that got that penalty. Metcalf kicks it from near on halfway, and the Warriors celebrate.
Yeah.
It was a very good win for them. It was a good where they started well, they looked good, and then they didn't look so good.
Yep.
The Broncos look like they're coming, but the Warriors hung on. So I reckon, sitting in fourth place, the Warriors must be over the moon as
Totally.
well. Wars fans just must be pumped.
Well, look,
I mean,
they got it. And I started the show by saying every reason to celebrate and should be celebrating, and then forget about that. I mean, I've already banked 2 points against the Knights because they're hopeless at the moment. But I know every team I know in game can bite you in the butt. But the thing is, Warriors fans, you've got. When your team wins in this competition and you look at that points table after 6 games and you say, hey, we're in the top 4, you actually have to allow yourself to celebrate that because it can go so wrong so quickly in this comp. When you get a little bit of a nudge like that, enjoy it while it is and then move on to the next game. And I hope that's the message the players get as well. You can't just go, oh, okay, well, that's that game and move on. You've got to actually spend a couple of days giving it don't you?
Yeah, look, why not? That's what it's about.
Yeah.
I mean, so many teams right now that were talked up before the end of the start of the season would love to be sitting top 4. What it means is the Warriors have got a number of wins under their belt. They're looking okay. What it means is other teams start to consider them a difficult proposition and not 2 points like you might look at Parramatta or the West Tigers. They're looking at the Warriors now saying, look, they've gutsed it out a couple of times for a win. They've beaten Brisbane in a game they could have lost. They're in 4th position. We've got to take them serious.
You've got to earn that.
But enjoy the wins.
Yeah.
You've got to enjoy it.
You don't get given
I'm
anything
ripping
in
it
this
up
league.
right now. What
are.
happens after 12 weeks if we're 6-6?
Yeah, and also your Liverpool lot of winning the title. That's just a matter of when it happens. Probably this weekend, unless I think Arsenal, if they lose to Palace tomorrow, I think it might happen. But you've won that title as well, so it's a reasonable role to be on at the moment.
It's a reasonable role to be on. I mean, look, we haven't won it at the moment. 13 points clear. Mathematically, there's probably a chance we might not be able to win it. But, geez, I tell you what. You're 13 points clear with 5 minutes left in the grand final.
Yeah.
You're going out to buy that celebratory 2025 grand final T-shirt for the Bulldogs on it, aren't you?
I think you are.
We're there. We can't. I mean, come on.
Unless, of course, you were Lachlan's
so
Broncos against Penrith a couple
year.
of years ago. I think they had a 19-point lead with a minute to go in the grand final and blew it, didn't they? That wasn't it?
Well, we don't need to bring up those kind of historical equations. At the end of the day, if there's a team that deserves to win this more than Liverpool, I don't know where they are.
No, Liverpool
because it's been a tremendous season. Scored 75 goals, only 31 against, with a goal differential of 44, 10 better than Arsenal.
Won 24 games. I think the next best is 18 or something. So yeah. What do you say?
Exactly, yeah, 24 wins and Arsenal's got 18, so does Nottingham. So it's a season that they've deserved to win. I tell you what, I'm going to have 2 T-shirts in the shed after this year, aren't I?
I hope not.
DSPN.